Hello, welcome to today's edition of Sobriety Life with me, Richie Crook. And today I'm going to call this episode 4.5 because I did promise some taste testing for non-alcoholic beers and drinks. But to be honest, I haven't had the time to go out and buy them. So I've been too busy. So this week today I'm going to call it 4.5. And really I want to touch upon living in sobriety and also, the alcohol itself, or alcoholism, or alcohol disorder syndrome, and what it is. So first of all, we're just going to touch on the actual disease itself, and it is an actual progressive disease that is unfortunately uncurable. So, if some of you, like myself, have the disease, then it's uncurable and we need to learn to live with it. So I'll give you an example. So if you were diagnosed with a terminal illness, such as MR or cancer or something like, I don't know, something that can actually, be life-changing, you would sort of do your best to manage the disease, and you would get medication for the disease, and you would avoid things that you can't have to make sure you have better quality of life and prolong your life. So we need to treat alcoholism the same. So you need to stop doing what causes you the harm, i.e. drinking alcohol, or whatever, narcotics, or whatever you're doing. It can be treated the same. So you need to stop doing that as a start, getting help. We've touched on that before. Get yourself some help for it and get the medication you need for it, to ensure you have a happy life, and medication. Because alcohol, as I've touched on before, alcohol will not, the disease will not be happy until it has dragged you down so far that it will actually kill you. So we need to live in sobriety. Normal drinkers out there, my hat is dipped to you, because you can enjoy a drink or two at your local pub, like I said before, and that's it. You switch off and you won't do it again for another week or so, or even a couple of days, or the next day, whatever. But you're in control of alcohol. And I think we also need to treat alcohol as, like something you're allergic to. For instance, if you have an allergy to nuts, you're not going to eat nuts, are you? Because, say, just for instance, your nuts could actually kill you, or it can make you violently ill, violently sick, and you end up hospitalised. Then you're going to steer as far away from nuts as you possibly can. And I think a lot of you have been on flights overseas on your holidays, or for business, and you hear the attendant say, we're not serving anything with nuts in today because there's people on there with a severe nut allergy. That's exactly how we need to look at it as alcoholics, as drunks, or people who've struggled with alcohol over the years, or progressively getting into that stage. If we feel you're in that stage, we need to look at it like it's like an allergic reaction if we touch a drop of alcohol. Because what does it do? It could put us in a hospital. It could make us do something stupid. We could end up in a police cell. We could end up hurting someone, hurting ourselves. We could end up violently sick over someone, or you could end up in a whole lot of trouble if you drink alcohol again. And I think that's the way we need to look at it. Just look at the alcoholic drinks as, stop and think and say, right, I'm doing some training now. I'm getting my mindset. If I drink that, I'm going to be violently ill, which we will be, and it's going to make, the consequences could well be hospital, prison, police cell, whatever. So I think that's how we got to look at it, really, is we're allergic to the actual drink. And then we just have to look at, living, bringing us on to living in sobriety. And I was always under the impression, my life's over now. I can't enjoy myself. I can't go to the pub and have a great time and have a few drinks, and so you sort of naturally start distancing yourself away from your friends. You become quite reclusive, unsocial, and it can be quite sort of upsetting, and it can be quite traumatic for yourself and your family, because you sort of alienate yourself from everyone else. I think when you are in sobriety and you manage to actually find sobriety, and we will touch on other subjects about sort of relapse and things like that, but if you do manage to get yourself a year down the line and you're doing really well, there's a few things that sort of like you need to do. I mean, for one thing, you don't want to withdraw yourself from your friends and your people you used to socialise with, because you need to socialise, you need to go out, you need to have a laugh and a joke, but just there's so many non-alcoholic sort of drinks on the market now that you can still sort of drink something like that. I know you're not going to be on the same wavelength as somebody else or other people in the room, but you're in control. So for instance, nobody is going to miss you, or they may do, but what I'm saying is, when you've had enough and you're out socialising and you start looking at your watch and you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, go home. Go home, because they still have a good time. Everyone's drinking. They might be 5, 6, 7, 8 pints deep by that time. Just say, excuse me, I'm going home. See you later, guys. Have a great evening. And I'll tell you what, you'll wake up feeling a lot fresh than other people will. So, number one, just go home. Whenever you feel like going home, go home if you can. If you start feeling uncomfortable, get yourself out of the situation. And then there's other things you can do, like socialise in sober environments only. So, when you go out with your wife or your girlfriend or your husband, whatever, just say, I want to be in a sober environment this evening. I'm not feeling too good. Let's avoid any kind of triggers that could potentially be there. So now you're taking yourself out of that environment where you could be triggered into saying, "Oh, stuff it, I've just won. It won't hurt me." Because if you were progressively into alcohol, then that one drink will most definitely lead into 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so on and so on until you're at a point of helplessness again and you become unmanageable. So always think of, when you do get into this situation, always think of the consequence. And I know it's hard, because sometimes you just think, oh, what the hell, I'm going to, have a good night. But just think of them dark days when you were at rock bottom and you felt like there was nowhere to go, and just think of them, think of the consequences, and have someone around you that can remind you of that, because sometimes we do get wrapped up in an evening out or whatever. But you've worked hard to get into this, and I've worked hard, and you've worked hard, or whoever's listening, you might be at different points, but we've worked hard to get into sobriety by now. So then you don't want to go and throw it all away by just sort of one silly sort of thing. What else is? I got a trip coming up where I'm going to go on a sober road trip to Tenerife from my town in the southwest, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I've hired a van, and I'm going to sort of try and do it a bit Bear Grylls, where I do a bit of camping. I'm going to travel down from, I think it's Poole in Dorset, this Saturday coming. I'm going to travel over to Cherbourg, I think that's how you pronounce it, in France, and then I'm going to travel on down through France, stopping along the way to do some podcasts and maybe just see the sights and sort of report on where I am, and give a bit of insight into the town where I am and sort of any history. And then I'm going to sort of mosey on down through France, south of France, across to Spain, and down whole length of Spain, probably going to touch Andorra, through the Pyrenees, and then I'm going to go to Seville and then catch a ferry to the Canary Islands. I think I stop off in Gran Canaria, and then off to Tenerife, where I'm going to meet some guys out there I've sent over to do some work, and then we're going to do some work out there for a couple of weeks, and then do the trip all over again, come back and have a bit of a road trip. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to doing it sober. not worrying about where my next drink's coming from, not worrying about being in trouble, you know, completely free, knowing that my wife's going to be looking after her side of the business at home, and I'll be sort of doing my side of the business on the road, which, you know, I've got a cooker, gas stove, and a tent, sleeping bag. So people think I'm a bit crazy, but you know, why not? Why not just do it? I'm at the sort of age now where I just sort of think, you know, you've got to start enjoying life and enjoy sobriety. And that is what I'm going to do. You know, I'm looking forward to meeting new people, having new food without the wine and the beers, and yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm looking forward to it. One thing I wanted to say as well is I went to a restaurant earlier and they were serving non-alcoholic Thatcher cider on tap, and that's the first place I've ever seen that was selling non-alcoholic cider on tap in the southwest. That is, I've seen it elsewhere in Madrid and places like that, but that was the first place I've ever seen it on tap. So if you know of any other places down in the Somerset area that's got non-alcoholic beers and wines on tap, then please message me in the comments. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I will do the taste testing before I leave this Saturday, and then I'm going to do sort of regular short videos just about the travels. So if anyone knows anywhere good to visit along the way, please feel free to send me an email or a text in. And remember, the email address for Sobriety Life is support@sobrietylife.com. That's support@sobrietylife.com. Sorry, that's not support@sobrietylife.com. It's support@sobrietylife.org. So I do apologise. Or, you know, check the website out. I'm still trying to build the website. It's been quite a long process, but I'm not tech minded, so I'm just doing it all on my own because it's a bit of a hobby, as you can probably tell at the moment. So yeah, so I'm just building that. It's it's sobrietylife.org. So yeah, so get in touch with us at sobrietylife.org, and please look at the videos on YouTube and TikTok. And I've started a Facebook page where thank you all for friend requests. So we now are hitting 970 friends in 4 days, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you for that. And yeah, keep messaging in, because it's been really good to receive the messages and the replies. You know, I reply to every single message that comes in. So you know, if you've got any questions or you need any support, then please email in to support@sobrietylife.org, and I will promise to reply to everyone, and I can point you in the right direction for any help and guidance you need. So yeah, and remember to like us on YouTube and TikTok, and I will see you shortly. I promise I will get the video out for the taste testing. So I will let you go for now. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.